It is the Rocket against Robertson. It is the second semi-final here at the Champion of Champions. Both men have got this far courtesy of a couple of epic encounters. Last frame wins for both in the group phase, if you will. Get ready then for more of the same. Reminder, if you weren't with us this afternoon, that Stuart Bingham prevailed in a difficult, hard-fought encounter with Mark Selby by 6 frames to 4. So Stuart will be back tomorrow for a final against, obviously, either Neil or Ronnie. Alan McManus and Neil Folds alongside me once again. Alan, in particular, recharged, I hope, from... well, it was hard work this afternoon in many ways, wasn't it? Because it was just that kind of game. It wasn't a disrespect to either player that it went that way. It's just one of those matches. Yeah, absolutely. It was workmanlike, I think we could call it. But Stuart was a stronger player today, and he fully merits his place in that tomorrow's showpiece final, obviously. He played really well in the groups. He won an aggregate of 10 frames to 2, his 2 matches. So he's in form, and he'll be a match for whoever comes through tonight. And we were talking earlier that without wanting to always oversell what comes next, there's the ingredients for something rather more action-packed tonight. Tonight, without a doubt. As you mentioned, 2 really hard-fought victories to get here. Neil Robertson beat Ali Carter, who played as well as he has since last year's or last season's World Championships back in the spring, where he lost narrowly. Well, he lost to O'Sullivan, okay, who played near the top of his game a couple of seasons back, but he's not really been in that form for a while. Now, we saw Ronnie beat Ding Junhui, won 3 ranking tournaments in succession. So we're in for a really special match. Robertson is capable of beating him. There's no doubt about that. He doesn't fear him. He's had the odd win against him. He had some good wins. Ronnie had that victory in the World Championships a couple of seasons ago where he belted 6 frames in a row. At the time, he was in irresistible form. So, as you say, the ingredients are there for something quite special here. Let's hear from both men, shall we?
Yeah, there's sometimes, you know, where you find it easier because you might have come off and thought, you know, your game's in good shape, and you know that there's nothing to worry about. You just got to go out there and play the balls. And there's other times you can come off the table and you can think, yeah, okay, I got over the line, but you know, you're already thinking about the next match and how you can maybe up your game and get it to the next level. So, you know, and last night was a typical case like that where I dug it out, but maybe I was a bit lucky to win that one. And I think, you know, probably a cat only gets so many lives. Yeah, absolutely. This is, you know, one of the reasons why, you know, I enjoy, you know, playing in these sort of arenas is, you know, to play Ronnie O'Sullivan here in the UK and in front of I'm sure it'll be a very rowdy crowd tonight, especially with everything that's going on in the Ashes back home in Australia. So, yeah, really looking forward to it. I don't know what the final, what the setup for the finals. I just know that obviously it's a best of 11. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of snooker to be played. But everyone's got to go through the same. You know, it's no different for any of the other players. So, you know, it's just important just to go out there and try and stay fresh in your mind, and just, you know, take each ball at a time. And if you can do that, I think then at least you're giving yourself every opportunity to get the best possible result. I mean, the only thing I can guarantee is that I'm going to try my hardest and give it my best. That's all you can. The 2 matches I won were both deciding frames, both coming back from 3-1 down. So, you know, I guess it you know, gives me a little bit of confidence knowing that, you know, should it come down to a decider again tonight, that I have won 2 already in the tournament. So, you know, but look, I just have to go out there and play my game. Nearly just couldn't quite resist a little Ashes dig there, couldn't he, Neil Robertson? No need for that, no need for that. Considered, things change quickly. Yeah, that's right. But in fairness, he's taken his punishment, hasn't he, on that score? Yeah, the head-to-heads. O'Sullivan, last meeting was in a PTC event recently, which Robertson won. But as I say, that match in the World Championships a couple of years ago, where Ronnie just had this burst of frames against him and a lot of other players. At the time, I must be honest, I thought that Robertson was going to win the title again that year. But of course, Ronnie since then has dominated that World Championship. 2 more wins, that, and the performances of winning it in the spring, having not played for a year, goes down as one of the great sporting achievements in recent years, outside of snooker as well for me, because you can't have a year off and come back and win, can you? It's not possible. But Ronnie's a little different. Yeah, he is certainly different in a very talented way. It's hard to think of any other sports person who can just roll up after a massive break and be the best. There's not many like him. You know, I've seen it at close quarters, as Neil also has, how good this guy is. As we see him putting in some extra practice on the tables earlier. He really is a frightening prospect to play against. But then I guess so is Neil Robertson. I spent some time in the practice table with Ronnie earlier, and
I mean, he always looks to be playing well. As you can see, I was fishing a few balls out for him, and he was having some fun. We were having a laugh and a joke out there, and he was very relaxed. But going back to that famous 18 months ago they played in the World Championships, it's fresh in the memory for me as well. I, like Neil, a lot of people fancied Neil to go the distance that year, but Ronnie prevailed, and he's been special the last twice there, so he's going to take all the stopping.
They are both, when you hear from them away from the competition arena, very kind of laid back characters, almost as if they just trot up and have a go like it's a hobby. But I can't imagine that's really the mindset they take into the arena. They must somehow flick a switch.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Neil, he's much more in battle hardened in recent practice, and it's got him sharp. And like you say, they go from tournament to tournament. But I don't think this week counts as just another tournament. I think this is special. It is the champion of champions. There is life for grabs. I think if Ronnie'd have gone through the workload of some of these other guys leading into this tournament, i.e. all the tournaments around the world, I don't think he'd be quite as sharp now. I think he's found the key in that, because Ronnie before looked jaded when he was playing matches week after week 2 or 3 seasons ago, and I think the secret is he is fresh.
Yeah, that's an interesting point actually, is the corollary to not playing perhaps as much as some, or even practicing as much as some, is the freshness that you bring, almost like a golfer picking and choosing when you peak.
Yeah, an interesting little conversation I had with Ronnie upstairs just earlier was, we were talking about, he was at the Masters last, I think it was January, and he hadn't been playing a lot of snooker, hadn't been at venues, and I said, why did you go to the Masters? And he said, I missed it. Yeah. So that's an interesting little insight. He does miss it, of course he does. When you're that talented, you're going to miss it.
There's a balance, isn't there, between having what you need and what you want and not having too much.
He said in some ways, I got sick of staying at home, and then I had to get out and see the lads, and so, he's keen.
We're glad he's here. We're glad he's here, and we are not far away from live snooker. The second semi-final is almost upon us. The arena just about full for what should be a cracking encounter. These two can play. These two can make the sparks on the bays fly. Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson will be with you very shortly. Welcome back. Stage is set then for the right to play Stuart Bingham in the final of the Champion of Champions. Your second semi features probably the best two players in the world right now, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson. Looking forward to this one with relish. Your commentators shortly will be Neil Foulds alongside Clive Everton, but to introduce the players here at the Rico, once again it's your MC, Mark Johnson Allen.
Thanks very much, Matt. Well, Saturday night snooker at the 888 Casino Champion of Champions does not get any better than this. An absolutely packed atmosphere here in Coventry to see the reigning world champion up against the world's #1 for a place in the final. Let's get on with the introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, from Australia, this man is in superb form. 49 centuries already this season. A former world champion, a former Masters champion. Please put your hands together for Neil Robertson! And his opponent was quite superb last night. It was 5-3 down to Ding Junhui, won it on the deciding frame. He's a 5-time world champion. He is the reigning world champion. He is known as the Rocket. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Ronnie O'Sullivan!
Current world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan versus current world #1 Neil Robertson. Full house, expectant atmosphere. What more do you want?
Okay, who wants to go? It's ahead. Your choice, Neil. Okay.
Yes, and it's a real test for both players in very different ways. You know how well Neil Robertson has been playing.
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
How well he's been scoring. But he's got to recreate that kind of form to win tonight. winning chances in one visit. As for Ronnie, he's not played as much snooker as others after the World Championships. He's played in some tournaments. Proved last night against Ding Junhui that he's still the same player that won back in the spring at the Crucible for the 5th time. But as the seasons go on, I guess we've got to assume that he is still as good as he was. And the signs are absolutely that.
O'Sullivan has won 25 world ranking titles. Robertson, 8.
A strange one. He didn't go through the ball very straight there. Didn't get past the red that he was nearest to. Didn't look a very nice shot, but it was just one that perhaps a bit of a loosener. Eight returns of ranking events is a good haul, really. It's in this modern era that Neil plays in. 8 ranking tournament victories. That's right up there, and he's somebody that isn't pleased to get to a semi-final. He's always looking to lift a trophy. So, as you heard, a Masters winner.
1.
And it was also interesting that he said the other night when he played that after the World Championships, he knew that his break build had to improve a little bit to the kind of level that O'Sullivan scores at when he's in at his best. He has improved that, no question, with those 49 centuries this season. That's a ridiculously high amount in such a little time. We're only in towards the end of November, and that is heading for the record of 61 and quite some more, I think.
The record of 61 set by Judd Trump last season.
Seven.
Certainly opening up reds here. Now, just looking at exactly the reaction of this, I can't see how it can avoid hitting into the red directly above this black. Just a glance of it thin and maybe go into other reds as well. Always a little bit awkward in that cluttered up area of the table, but he's got a red that he can go to, albeit queuing awkwardly.
14.
Yeah, only red spot amongst the bunch of reds. If none, the angle is there to just nudge into a few. Don't think he's playing this at any great pace if he does go into them. It's the red just below the line of the pink that he's looking to hit. It's the one. Could have been better. He has a red to the middle, which will take him onto the black. But
20.
It'll always be a shot that is missable. I'd fancy him for it. He was certainly, as I say, beyond the black.
$21. Sure. 28.
Michaela Tabb is the referee. Has refereed 2 world finals.
Sure. Okay. 29.
I think he might have wanted to be straight on this actually, because he can get onto one of the reds, 2 up from the black spot, the one out in the open in the middle of the bunch either side, but don't see how he can get on it with the angle he seems to have here. Maybe another cannon instead. That's quite a good shot. Get a touch of left-hand side on that to make sure the cue ball didn't go down towards the black end of the table again. But the next one, he's got to avoid the reds if he can, if he gets up for a lower value colour. And make sure he pots this because it's not easy.
$37.
O'Sullivan played a slack shot. Robertson has been at the table ever since.
42. $43.
He's absolutely perfect on the green if he wants to play into the little bunch. Symmetrical feel about the formation of those reds, the 4 and the 3, but quite a big target to go into. Oh, that's very nicely played. Unlucky.
Foul.
I mean, he's played it well. The
Robertson,
plant didn't
43.
appear to be on,
Ronnie
interestingly,
O'Sullivan,
and
4.
I think that Neil is very surprised about that. Quite know how that red went in there, and neither does Neil.
It certainly changed the shape of the frame though. But O'Sullivan misses his first red.
Yeah, shaky start, isn't it, for O'Sullivan? No question. The opening red that he missed, that he didn't get past the red that was below it, and then that. He hasn't settled yet.
One.
O'Sullivan didn't settle last night either. He went 3-0 down to Ding Junhui.
Yes, he said he wasn't particularly sharp last night. Although I think as the match went on, there were signs that he was getting back to his best when he really needed to. That is the mark of a champion. Often you see players that are not sharp when the pressure's on them. That's when they get worse, not better.
$16. $17.
This is just the start Neil Robertson needed tonight. Put a foot wrong, in my view. Just that lucky knocking in of the red.
24. 25.
Already well past the post in this opening frame.
$32. $33. $40. $41. $48. Neil Robertson, 48.
Neil Robertson's first effort ended unluckily on 43 when he knocked a red in when opening the bunch, but he supplemented that with that 48 and thus leads by a frame to nil.
Second frame, Neil Robertson to break.
Breaks of 43 and 48 gave Neil Robertson the opening frame without Ronnie O'Sullivan potting a ball. It was great to see O'Sullivan relishing the battle last night. And he came from 2 down with 3 to play to beat Ding Junhui. Meant a lot to him.
Yeah, 50 points down in the decider as well. Before staging that tremendous fight back, and it got quite twitchy for both players on the blue, proving that as great players as these are, when the chips are down and the pressure's on, perhaps the odd ball is still missable. All very dramatic stuff. Similar to Neil Robertson's match when you think about it. Ali Carter was behind the green and last frame with just a few more pots required and missed one that he would hardly ever miss. He's really up to nothing here.
Knew that he would be covering the red on that diagonal by means of the blue. But not that red. He thought he might manage to get the cue ball to cannon the red and black in such a way, or would the black go originally? Perhaps he was trying to come round it.
I thought maybe he was trying to slip round the back of it, and he's got a difficult shot here. Not much he can do with the red over the left corner, but can't take a risk and go to bulk. He's maybe got to try and finish on the right hand cushion near that middle pocket where his cue is now. But I suppose there is the chance, if he does that, of this frame developing into a stalemate in a few shots' time, because Ronnie's only shot back would be to run up to the pack. Anyway, it would be a risk to get into bulk, put that out that way, because
Neil Robertson, 1.
he would stick the red perhaps. Ronnie, as I say, just dropping into them, I think. Not something he'd like to do, but ideas are thin on the ground here. Just wonder if Neil has got a shot to get up into that top right pocket, the green pocket up there, to get distance and to cover that red over the pocket. I think he has the shot. Certainly covered the red near the pocket.
Not quite as good.
No, he's left it.
One.
That was about the best he could hope for. Pressure on this next colour with the red over the pocket.
Six.
Yeah, it's the other red. It's thinner red that he likes. The other one, best of angles.
Seven.
Settled very quickly tonight in Robertson. There's always that streak of determination about him. Very mild-mannered and quiet off the table, but on the table. Wants to beat all of the good players around him, and as I said earlier, he's a tournament winner. In an era when it's very difficult to lift trophies.
China Open last spring and Washi Classic at the start of this season, his two most recent world ranking titles.
Yeah, reached the final in Bendigo near Melbourne, which is of course where he's from, before losing
12.
to Marco Fu, which was a big disappointment to him. His break building this season has been breathtaking.
13.
Came here hitting centuries all around the world in matches, and in his group, a couple of matches the other day, he knocked in another 5 centuries.
Sure. Eighteen. 19.
"20 minutes into the match. O'Sullivan yet to pot a ball.
Not exactly where he wanted it.
21. $22.
The flick on the blue was not required at all, and well, he can get to that red to the right corner. It doesn't go down as an easy shot at all. Probably heading back to baulk from it. It's quite thin. Looking good.
25.
Move away from its spot makes things a little difficult though now. He will travel off the side of the bottom cushions from this. I don't think he can hold it. Seems to be heading down towards the red and the black close together. Just missed those. Yeah. Things getting very awkward now.
30. $31.
And managed to get above the blue.
Very good shot. And close together, cue ball and object ball. It's difficult to play that run through shot there. Well, there you see, we mentioned already that Ronnie has not potted one, but this is the 40th ball. And Robertson has knocked in. So he is very much in touch at the table. That man can only sit and hope. Very good start from Neil. Ronnie doesn't look anxious at all, but
37.
been given no chance to settle. It might seem like a long match, first to six, but if you go a couple down without getting a shot, things are going to be awkward for Ronnie.
43. $44. Sure. Oops, sorry.
Well, he wants a red colour and a red. The frame is his. Missed it.
Neil Robertson, 50.
Wasn't all that easy though. So a chance for O'Sullivan to get a foothold in the frame and therefore in the match.
One.
pretty sure he intended to be on blue to middle. But the yellow, left-handed,
3.
there would be no trouble.
Yeah, both reds actually pot here, as you see.
Four.
Well, this will be some frame to win. It's a long way off, though. Now looking ready at the cannon on either the two reds, or the red, or the black, or the one from the cushion, depending on which side of the pink he finishes here. They're going low, so he's looking to disturb that left-hand cushion red.
10.
Nicely done.
11.
Very nice. One major cannon still to be played. Probably from the blue. If he gets there, it's around
17.
a couple of cushions. It's so many options, so many shots that Ronnie's got in his repertoire. It's even making him think. And just checking, he can take low value colours. He pretty much take anything.
$18.
Wow. Interesting. Nice wide angle on the green, so this would be some shot if he gets the cannon here. This is a great effort. Magnificent shot.
$22.
So the stage is set now for a frame snatching clearance.
Oh my word. What is he thinking? He's done very little wrong. Missed one
29.
ball. He left the table with reds everywhere. Most of them safe. And all of a sudden Ronnie's turned that around
31.
in the way only he can, with the absolute class that he has.
$34.
Two great developing cannons from O'Sullivan. The rest should be straightforward.
$38.
Oh,
43.
this is a truly breathtaking clearance.
$49.
O'Sullivan trailed by a frame and 51-0. But with a terrific clearance of 56, which included two wonderful developing cannons, he takes the frame on the black and levels at 1-all.
Thank you. Frame 3. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
O'Sullivan always breaks off left-handed because he feels that he gets his cue straighter through the right-hand side of the ball as he looks at it than he would if he played the shot right-handed. He feels that he tends sometimes to hit across it from left to right, but the break-off shot on that occasion, not a good one.
No, and it's a very interesting theory that only Ronnie could ever back up, I think.
One.
Robertson limited in his range of positional options from there.
Brim.
Very close to the side cushion. He's got to use some force to get down to the reds. Not an easy shot, this. Well played. It hasn't gone just too far.
Five.
Now this must be tight. You've seen the look he's giving it. He was down on this. Oh, I don't think that goes. Looks very close. It's like you can see it full ball, but there is a slight angle. Oh, I'm not sure about that one. It's onto a different shot already.
Neil Robertson, 5.
I think that would have shaken Neil Robertson, that clearance, because he came out pumped up, I would say. Certainly very much focused on the job. He did very little wrong. Looked for all the world it was going to go 2-0. Ronnie hadn't potted a ball when he came to the table. And he made a wonderful clearance at the end of that frame with reds tied up. I mean, this shot is well worth another look, Clive. Beautiful.
You'll never see a better positional cannon than that.
And you can have all the deep screws and all the things that look flashy, but when you see something with such touch and finesse as that, well, it makes you realise what can be achieved from someone like O'Sullivan, who's got all the shots in the book. And Neil's going to have to pull something out here, because that yellow is covering a whole number of reds. I think it's looking like the two-cushion escape. He's certainly shaped up for it. And it'll be... There's every chance he'll miss it altogether first time if he does. Trying to get a glancing blow on these. Oh no, he didn't need a practice, did he? First try. That's quite a good shot actually under the circumstances. They may have left something, but nothing easy.
Cue ball over on the awkward side rather than the open side.
Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
Well, the in-off gets the cue ball back to the D. I think he was trying to leave it in that left-hand corner. Going back to the last shot, by the way, a deliberate in-off is permissible, nothing in the rules to prevent it. full house, and they're all engrossed in it.
And Ronnie making things difficult for Neil with these safety shots. The reds spread so far and wide, it's difficult to get back to baulk because something will be in the way on the way back down there, it seems. Again, Neil thinking that he can't get back to the other end of the table and maybe trying to get the cue ball down in the bottom left pocket. In or around there, not in off. Isn't quite how he played it. The cue ball should have finished closer to the cushion. There's a red to the right middle available.
Five.
Ooh,
Six.
what a thumping kick.
Yeah, the ball's left the bed of the table there briefly. I think the red certainly jumped. Took all the pace out of it. Had kicks this week, not a huge amount, not the ones that stop the pots going in, but ones that deaden the white a little bit.
11.
Yeah, that red jumped up in the air. Like I say, the pot still went in. It's not a good shot. It's one
12.
of the few. That's a very poor shot from O'Sullivan. Can recover the situation with the blue. Oh, well done. Always going to be an awkward break this with pink and black out of the game.
70.
But the creative mind of O'Sullivan
18.
usually finds a way.
$23. 24.
Well, on this evidence, his game's in great shape. We know that his mind's in great shape as well, following all the work he's done with Dr. Steve Peters.
29. 30.
Adds up to a formidable combination, although he could have done with being above the blue there.
Around the table here. Lots of top spin. And left hand side made to look simple.
35. 36.
And this time no such problem with wrong side of the blue, perfectly judged. This match has started very well. Haven't seen century breaks, but just the nature of the
41.
clearance in the last, Ronnie's first chance, and the way that he started this break, created by the fact that he
42.
put Neil in lots of bother on about 4 occasions, up to very high standard of pot success, 97%.
47.
Now you can see how difficult things have been. 1 brown and 7 blues. High value colours haven't moved in this break once. And again, this time he has no real angle. Second brown of the break coming up, swinging the cue ball around the angles. Not bad. A little bit more distance on this, I would have thought.
52.
Yeah, that was the worry. You wanted to go further because you couldn't avoid the
Ronnie
black.
O'Sullivan, 52.
So this frame is certainly not over yet.
O'Sullivan leads by 51. Well, quite a long way out with that thin cut.
Yeah, I think also he's trying to hold for staying this side of the bulk line and to be on bulk colours, and that's probably why he missed it on the thick side. But as you say, it was not really close.
One.
This requires one more red after this blue. And just that forced red into this pocket a couple of shots ago is all he's missed.
6.
Extra pace on it, I think, was the reason, but
7.
these first 3 frames have been very interesting.
$14. 15.
Well, that would have been some shot if he could have developed those 2 reds.
22. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 22, and the frame.
Great standard, great atmosphere. O'Sullivan leads by 2 frames to 1.
Thank you. The 4th frame, Neil Robertson to break.
Robertson resumes, 2-1 down. Hardly anything missed in the first 3 frames. Well, if there's just one aspect of O'Sullivan's game that's not quite as good as it was when he was younger, it's his long putting.
Yeah, and I think just also forcing the ball a bit, like he was there. Because we saw him miss one earlier like that, the rest of it's still completely as it's always been. He knows he's disappointed with that one. He mentioned actually, after last night's win, there were still things he felt he could improve on. Pushing through the cue ball and all of that. Long putting is usually one of the first things to go if you're struggling, although there's no suggestion he's struggling. He's given a chance here from not very much. Great matchup this, isn't it? The world champion against the world number 1.
Seven.
Robertson had a good look from behind the pocket to see if pink was going to be pottable later in the break.
Eight. Thirteen. Fourteen.
Well, because of where he's finished, he's going to be mid-range on the next red. Can't get all that close to 1. There you see, just slightly the wrong side of the blue. But as a left-hander, he can reach across and take on this red. Again, he's up for the blue, though. The pink and black, not for the first time, have been
19.
tied up.
Not a ball that
Yeah,
Robertson would
19.
normally miss.
Takes a bit of effort, though, doesn't it, to play that shot to get the other side of the blue. You know, a lot of good cueing has to go into the shot. Found wanting there.
One.
An unkind kiss.
Not sure what he played on there, actually. See that he could get the pink into play. Is he playing this? Could play safe and leave the cue ball up into the top right pocket if he wanted to. So he wouldn't be able to get to the red to the middle. Don't suppose it's too bad anywhere in bulk, actually. The red is probably just past that right middle pocket. He initially looked like he was going to go for the yellow.
Ronnie O'Sullivan one.
Decided to close the game up. I think from his initial shot, he would have been happy with a mid-range blue to balk pocket. Can't see what else he might have been playing on. We all see O'Sullivan as a great potter and break builder, but he's second to none in the tactical department as well.
Look at the table here, nothing springs to mind. Neil is not finding an easy way back to Bolt. Easy way to just leave the cue ball down on this bottom cushion behind the black either, with the red there. You occasionally get a situation like this where you just cannot see a shot. Leave the cue ball there, leave something to the middle pocket. If he's talking about dropping onto that red at the other end of the table or not. There really isn't much available. You can't see anything. Couple of minutes on this coming up.
Ronnie O'Sullivan for.
Well, all I'll say is that if the red doesn't cut to the middle pocket, then it's not the worst, although Ronnie's having a look at that possibility.
Not quite as thin as that. Up and down was the idea.
He was in all kinds of trouble, though.
One.
That's the point with Ronnie, as you say, you can play safe, and safety has put Neil in big trouble and has punished him already in a couple of frames when Robertson has fallen down.
The last shot cannoned the pink against a red. May not be long before he tries to cannon those two balls.
Six. Seven.
How's he going to make this into a frame-winning break? This has been the case. Pink and black yet again tied up.
Ten. $11.
And maybe this is the opportunity to get something into play. With this shot, the next one. Well, this red might make the black available to the opposite
16.
corner. That could have been a key shot there. He's slightly the wrong side of it. Well, that's opened the black up all right. It's a really
17.
good shot from O'Sullivan. Shame that he's finished a little straight on this.
$22.
It'll be a left-handed red here.
$23.
Not his best positional shot though.
Touching the blue. Nominate your colour, please.
Did a lot of hard work there, but he just couldn't quite finish off that break. Got into absolute prime position
Blue.
despite getting the black on. Dominating the blue, playing away from it.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Once again.
23.
Neil under it. Robertson is starting to wear the carpet out at that end of the table. Spending all his time down there at the moment.
Robertson asking a question in the safety exchange. O'Sullivan has asked most of them.
Yeah, and I think Robertson knows this is a very big frame. He needs to get something out of this session. He hasn't played all that badly. He started well. He needs the next chance to be his. And see this long red be an easy one. It's just off straight. Low angle camera, it looks like it's over the pocket, but it isn't. Get very close to it. You almost hit the wrong side of that, actually. I think Ronnie's going for this. It's a very difficult shot. Missed it.
Played it with some thought of safety. Thought that the red might wobble clear and Robertson be prevented by the black from attempting it, but has he left anything onto the far corner? No.
Oh, Neil is interested in these two reds. He thinks that the right-hand red pots to the middle pocket. Touch of right-hand side on this. Well done. It wasn't plain ball. It was to make that pot by just swinging the cue ball around the offending red. Just a touch of right-hand side on that. And the cue ball comes to rest with Neil on the green to the middle. And he has to get this. He's starting to go for it 100%. Oh, good shot. Very good.
Could well prove a key shot
4.
on his way to a frame-winning contribution.
I think
5.
you're right about the shot that Ronnie played. He played the red down the cushion into the right corner, thinking that he wouldn't leave anything. Neil spotted that red to the middle that had to be made. So we're talking fine margins here in this match of already a high standard.
Sure. 12.
Neil can't reach this as a left-hander. Needs the rest. get himself a good few in front by taking these reds that are available. In fact, if he takes high value colours with these 4 reds, you won't need the yellow that's safe. In his favour.
Okay. 13. $18.
Nine in front, so therefore can win the frame without the aid of the yellow.
Okay. 19. $25.
If Neil wins this frame, he's done very well.
26.
Spent the first half of it nailed to the vault cushion. Narrow on this, and he
33.
needs the colour, so he's got to play it with a little bit of force. He'll have to just drop this in and finish on the side cushion, but he knows he's got more to do. Just pot the red.
$34.
But what he didn't necessarily have to do was to get on the colour in such a way that he could get on the yellow. So it's one snooker needed for O'Sullivan.
39.
Which is far from safe for Robertson, but he plays a sensible shot here. Still got the advantage looking at the state of the table. Ronnie will be interested in
Yeah,
where the
Robertson,
brown is
39.
placed, because that's a really good position to get the cue ball in behind. Not sure he can do it this shot, but just generally, Robertson is not home yet.
Not quite hard enough to get in behind brown and green.
Difficult shot to control because using all that pace to hold the cue ball, the yellow is always going to travel up and down the table.
First of all, doesn't want to cannon the brown or green. Pretty good.
Yeah, should be able to hit it. It's not easy to play the swerve though, if he's going to, because the cue ball's so close to the cushion. Simple escape if it wasn't for that. He might still have to play it, but he's just got to be careful. He can't really get underneath the cue ball. It's quite awkward. That's the reason he's hesitating. He's got a big target here. One cushion either directly or off the second cushion, i.e. the baulk cushion.
Not much room around the yellow.
Played it well. Played it very well. We see that the dangers of the way the balls are on this table for anyone whose opponent needs a snooker. It's not safe at all. I wouldn't expect Neil to miss this one either, but he's got to be a little careful he doesn't hit the brown first if he goes out of two cushions. He's got the one cushion escape, it's even easier. I think thinks he needs to push this yellow away from there, otherwise he's in another one the next shot.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it was close, but all right, I think.
It was close, yeah. The one before. In one now, but previous shot. It had been simultaneous between the yellow and the brown. That would have been called a foul. Got the best referees around here this week. Kayla Tabby's right up there as the top of her profession.
Now, if the yellow was slightly off the cushion, it would be like having two ball widths to hit. But it's tied to the cushion, so it's just the width of one ball.
Good shot, very good escape for the reasons I've said. Wouldn't go down as one of Ronnie's greatest ever shots, that one. It wasn't easy to get a snooker.
maybe just a possibility here. Multi-cushion attempt to lay the snooker. So that alone pushed O'Sullivan to 2 snookers needed.
5.
And that puts the frame beyond doubt.
Nine.
So the first 4 frames are going to be evenly shared. The highlight for me was the second frame clearance of 56 from O'Sullivan, including 2 terrific
No Robertson.
developing cannons.
Frame conceded. Frame Neil Robertson.
2 all it is at the mid-session interval.
Engrossing stuff. We've had the hot potting and the brilliant break building from both players that we were expecting, certainly hoping for, and then latterly, interesting, captivating bit of cat and mouse. Ronnie couldn't quite find a way to come back in that one, which leaves us nicely poised at 2 each, and we'll hear from Alan McManus in just a couple of minutes. Neil Robertson came out of the blocks with 2 breaks of 40 to lead 1-0 here. Ronnie fashioned a brilliant clearance for 1-all when it looked lost and got himself in front, but back has come the Aussie, and it's 2 each at the interval. Enjoyable match this, with a pot success rate above 90% for both players. That's a good indicator. Safety success has also been impressive. Neither has made a massive break yet, just a half century apiece, but as you can see, the stats are pretty impressive for both players. And again, as we said earlier, Alan, it's no kind of denigration on what we saw this afternoon. It's just this has got a feel of quality about it, doesn't it, from both players?
You can see the class out there, can't you? There's not been any huge breaks yet, just a couple in the 50s, a few 40s, but the standard's been awesome. I mean, for how, you know, as I say, no big breaks, that they've been going to and fro each other, and it's been fascinating.
Yeah, that mini clearance really, but very impressive clearance from Ronnie in frame 2. Sometimes he makes a century, and we all know 4 or 5 minutes. This one shot took a couple of minutes to work out. See,
I mean, Ronnie here, he obviously has the problem of the last red tied to the black here, and he's 34 behind at this point, so he's not only thinking about what shot to play, he's thinking about the scoreboard, weighing up his options. You don't often see Ronnie take his time like this when he's in close, do you? But, well, the shot he plays in a few seconds is right out of the top drawer. Decides to play deliberately half ball for the green. You see him, he's just not sure what to do, but checks the scores again a couple of times. As I say, plays deliberately half ball on the green, and the shot that he comes up with in a few seconds' time, quite frankly, it was from the gods.
It was, and what's interesting is once he's kind of decided on his path, actually, there's no hesitation now, is there?
Yeah, I mean, it's also the fact that he's chosen the green deliberately, because he's going to attack the black and deliberately try and push the red towards the corner. He came up with a complete gem of a shot, and the clearance was soon after.
Yeah. Equally impressive in its own way was the way in which Neil Robertson found a way to win this last frame, with a couple of very quality pots that perhaps weren't immediately as beautiful or impressive, but they are very good, you think?
Yeah.
Made a mistake initially, should point out.
This is unusual for Neil to miss that type of shot. I mean, all season he could probably count on one hand him missing that type of shot, and we've got a couple of shots. This red to the left middle is so difficult. Now, at this point of the match, Neil had been frozen out. He was from 1-0 up. He hadn't really had a shot for about half an hour. The green to follow at that pace is maybe the best shot he's played in the match so far, and it also just demonstrates how tough he is upstairs.
Yes.
This guy Neil Robertson, he won't go away, and you know, it's been brilliant.
Yeah, the crowd are clearly enthralled, as are we, and hopefully everybody at home, because what looked like 2-0 Robertson suddenly became 2-1 O'Sullivan. Could easily have been 3-1, but Neil Robertson has found a way. So they're both, you can see literally how they're both hanging on to each other.
It's toing and froing, isn't it? And I'm sure it will till the end. I'm just amazed at the standard. It's like a boxing match out there, isn't it? It's punch and counter punch. First it was Neil, then it was Ronnie, now it was Neil, and I'm sure it's going to continue. And I'm sure we'll get the big breaks to come, and hopefully towards the end we'll get similar drama than what these two encountered in their final group matches.
It is a scrap, but an elegant sort of a scrap. Definitely a boxing match, as Alan says, rather than a tear-up. These two can play with precision and softness, and also at times, particularly one pot on the blue from Ronnie with extreme power. Back shortly.
I said I love you. Alright. I said I love you. I thought you knew.
Among the highlights on the Bundesliga this Monday evening, a 3-0 win tonight for Bayern Munich at Borussia Dortmund. And amongst the 3 goal scorers, Mario Götze against his old team, a bit of schadenfreude, if ever there was some, back here at the Ricoh Arena. 2 each at the break between Ronnie O'Sullivan and Neil Robertson. Players will re-emerge, I'm sure, in a moment or two. Actually, for the crowd that's here, there's quite a few sky blue football tops among them naturally. They're not getting any football at the Ricoh, unfortunately, at the moment, but they are getting some good snooker this week. Yeah,
I don't think they're too bothered about missing the football. Funny enough, I've been looking around some of the faces with some of the shots both Ronnie and Neil have been playing out there. They're completely engrossed in this, as we are.
Yeah.
I'm a fortunate position to be able to, you know, we're perched up here and we can watch this live as well. It's
not a bad view, is it?
It's absolutely engrossing stuff. Yeah, I mean, you know, you can see in the pictures there how close we are to the action, and we've got the best seat in the house, quite honestly.
Yeah, there you go. There's one of the Sky Blues. Team not going so well, but hopefully enjoying the Green Bays. And actually, all types here, aren't there? There's a right cross section.
Yeah, they're always
snooker crowds get a certain kind of label, but
always are at the snooker. It was nice to see that there were some kids in this afternoon for the Paul Hunter Foundation. That was nice to see, and they've been doing their bit in the foyer in the hotel and stuff. So yeah.
It's all good. Let's bring the players back out, shall we? Ready to make their entrances. So we'll go back to our MC, Mark Johnson.
Thanks, Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Neil Robertson and Ronnie O'Sullivan.
The top players always try to find a little bit extra for the major tournaments, and this is certainly one of them, even though it's in its inaugural year.
Thank you, the 5th frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
What makes it a big tournament? The prize money, yes, 100,000 for first, but most of all the sense of occasion generated by the television coverage and a full house crowd.
And also that all of the best players in the world are here. There's no one missing that you could think of that should be here, is watching somewhere else in the world. They're all playing.
some people may have got the impression that because O'Sullivan won his 5th world title last spring so convincingly and by such margins that he could just turn up and do it whenever he liked. They should think again. He's by no means bound to win every tournament or even most of them. He has won one Players Tour Championship event this season, but that's it. Had his share of defeats, lost to China's Liang Wenbo in China's International Championship in Chengdu. But here in Coventry, he's come out fresh, keen and determined to give it his all. He really did dig deep against Dig Junhui last evening. Come from 5-3 down to win 6-5.
Can't seem to go off the pack from here. Looks like it's going to have to be a pot. Very difficult, but the safety shot looked even more awkward to play than going for one. The double kiss means he's got away with it.
Yes, a bit of luck there. Another one for the thinking cap. Well, is there a chance of getting off the side of the black cushions, tight to the back red? Well, if there is, it's not what he's playing. Attempted the thin safety return to Borg.
Well, he's been a bit lucky. Ronnie might be able to pop one, but his opening red isn't straightforward. He's close to it. Cue will go into the other one above it. It's going to be a good shot from O'Sullivan to get from red to colour. Especially now he's pushed the pink up the table. And there was a time when Ronnie used to knock in long blues like this when he first turned professional. The bulk pockets like they were just the easiest shots in the world. This is a difficult one with the red over the middle. This is a real queuing shot. He got nowhere near it, I'm afraid. Surprised he tried to screw that in. I would have thought that would have made it more difficult. And he could have just stunned it, and the red was available in the middle. Either way, he was going to leave something, unless he's been very lucky.
Well, the blue was covered the red nearest the pocket, but there is another possibility.
One.
That was a really good shot to get beyond the black as well. The red, I don't think, was into a full pocket. He may have the angle to disturb the couple of reds near the black spot as well with top spin.
Eight. Nine. Fourteen. 15. Twenty-two. 23.
Good chance for heavy scoring here. Possibly a frame-winning break coming up.
30.
Yeah, the first 2 or 3
First
shots
one.
in this break were key, and now he's, the way that O'Sullivan does, manipulated the table to suit himself. Always got the reserve red up the table there whenever he wants it.
38.
Play up on the blue, and if he finishes short on the blue, that's there for him.
39.
Marvellous chance to win the frame.
$44. 45.
Sullivan was forced to take on a long blue that you could see that he didn't fancy. And that's why he's been sitting down ever since.
52. 53. 58. $59.
Overhit. I knew that there might be trouble once he left himself a thin cut on that red over the pocket.
Yeah, I suppose there were two ways to play it. One was just landing behind it, in case he overhit, or if he wanted to come off the cushion and up for the black. I think most people might have played it off the cushion and back up. You say it's gone wrong, and he's not safe yet, even if this goes in, because he wants a further red after it. There's an argument here to say that he won't go for the black and he'll play to get a high value colour safe like the blue. Put it on the right cushion, cue ball up into bulk. He's done it with the brown, it amounts to the same thing.
Robertson, 59.
Quite got the brown safe, hasn't quite got the snooker, but it's not bad.
Foul.
Well,
Neil Robertson,
caught that
7.
safety much too thin.
In some ways, Clive, I think it's almost better for him that the black went in than had it gone safe. The fact that it's on its spot means he can still win the frame.
Robertson attempted the red that he needed to clinch the frame. Barring snookers. Here comes the O'Sullivan counter-attack.
Yes, and the control of the cue ball there was as difficult as the pot. This would be even more difficult at clearance than the second frame when he
9.
pulled a rabbit out of the hat there to win that frame.
$16. $17.
Well, way short of where he hoped, I think. Might have tried to play him behind that.
24. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 24.
Attempted the double rather than concentrating on the safety. Long straight red again would give Robertson the frame. Should O'Sullivan have concentrated on the safety, Neil?
Neil Robertson, 1.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the double didn't really look like it was on that he went for. I know that Robertson's missed that blue, but it's still 2 snookers for Ronnie, and this table does not look as inviting as it did for the frame before the interval where he tried to get snookers. Couldn't really fancy him here, and I'm not sure how much interest he'd have in toiling away here than getting on with the next frame. Fairly half-hearted attempt. Probably gearing yourself up for the next frame, actually. Robertson's done well to get back in front because must have been feeling a bit like he was up against it, only 2-1 down, the way that Ronnie was queuing.
One. Eight.
2 snookers needed.
Ten. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 10.
Asking a lot to get behind the brown. And now that Robertson has plotted the green, don't believe O'Sullivan will be coming back to the table.
Neil Robertson, 3. And diff.
Neil Robertson leads Ronnie O'Sullivan by 3 frames to 2.
Thank you, frame 6. Neil Robertson to break.
A clash of 2 titans of the snooker world. Current world champion Ronnie O'Sullivan trailing current world number 1 Neil Robertson by 3 frames to 2. If it didn't go in, he thought he had some chance of covering it with a baulk colour, probably brown.
Yeah, very good pot though, as well. Played slowly like that, I think they're awkward shots to find the right angle on.
Five.
Good pot,
6.
but not the desired cannon.
No, I think the cannon was probably meant to be half ball on the red as opposed to going into the black itself.
Neil Robertson, 6.
nicely stroked in. O'Sullivan's long potting is a bit more suspect when he has to power the ball.
Three. Four.
Interesting choice of shot next. Possibly
9.
consider playing on the black. Be easy. Going down on low on the cue ball there, so
10.
no for now. Now the pink is getting tied up by being respotted. And Ronnie's the best at getting the
60.
balls how he wants them. See his next move.
17.
This breaking danger of drying up unless Ronnie finds a way. Finds it soon. Could
20.
screw off the side of the pack with the rest. That would definitely develop balls, but the pot's got to be taken seriously and getting the cue ball out of there. Yeah, that was the problem. It just seemed like things were getting more difficult
20.
by the shot. Time to put in a good safety shot.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 23.
That's it. That's fine. This will test Ronnie's cueing if he plays the straightest shot. In with power. Might be able to get on the pink into the same pocket. That's pretty decent, isn't it? Really punch it in and get too far across. The extra force might have meant that he lost his accuracy. Choice
7.
of reds. Looking good now for O'Sullivan in this
8.
frame.
Yes, he can clinch it with pinks and blues. No need to worry about developing the black. No need to worry about the yellow.
14. 15.
Yeah, it's just a question of getting rid of reds now and staying around the pink will mean that he's over the line pretty soon. .38 points the advantage, still
21.
67 on. They'll go down by 8 points every time a red is sunk.
22.
Just about got there. Now, red-pink will be enough for Robertson to
28.
need a snooker.
$29.
Maybe able to tie the frame mathematically, but I don't see Ronnie having any problems getting from blue to his next red.
$34. $35.
Neither player has been able to take a 2-frame lead.
41. 42. $48. 49. 54. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 54. And
So with that break of 54, Ronnie O'Sullivan brings the scores level again. It's 3-all.
thank you, frame 7. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
We expected this to be a cracking match, and so it has proved. Stands at 3-all, with a possible 5 frames to play. Robertson made sure he got the red low enough to deter O'Sullivan from going for the back red.
Decent shot there from Robertson. Able to just get to an edge of a red. So even better. Neil's got a red that he can pot because there doesn't seem to be any good safety shots on. Looked at the red down by the black to the right corner. Must be tight. And he's playing as if snookered.
Leading if that red was on. It was difficult. could have missed it, and where was his colour coming from?
Time I wonder if Neil will be more tempted. Same story applies. It's not easy and the colour's not guaranteed, but he's got a better angle to get out of there. Table if possible. And I think the pot being nearer the pocket is a bit easier as well. And so if you look at the safety shot, there's not much there. So I think we might have to have a go at this.
Cue ball not quite tight on the baulk cushion either. Still difficult enough though.
One.
Now, still, high value colour's not really in the game, and that's one reason he might just try and go into the pink. Try and free that up. He'll have a couple of reds. Otherwise, he doesn't really need to play that sort of a shot because there are reds spread. And he can take that option up.
6. Seven.
Just making sure he doesn't snooker himself on a bolt colour behind the red over the pocket. They played short of the line of the green. This must be quite a tight one. I think he's all right.
12.
I think he needed a touch
13.
of left-hand side actually just to straighten it up, and that's why he played it in what looks a slightly odd fashion.
Yeah, cue ball caught the baulk cushion jaw and threw itself back under the side cushion.
With a little grin on his face after that last shot, he knows it was a bad one for him, someone of his standard. This now is a difficult shot with that cue ball tight against the side cushion. Really doesn't help. Very good. Such good striking, that is. Playing
17.
at that sort of pace as well. Now, I think that the red will pass the black. Yeah, I believe so. He's having a good hard look at it, but from our angle it appears it does go. Only almost on the table. I suppose you can stand on the table and have your feet on the ground as long as you're not playing a shot. Interesting he's not playing it though, isn't it? I think Ronnie believed that red didn't go.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 17.
Well, it did.
He wasn't really in a very good position to see it. Maybe he should have gone behind the pocket, but the ready play was much harder than what he's been left with.
Whenever two ball colours get pushed close together, it invariably offers a tempting target for a safety behind the two balls.
There's a gap here, would you believe? Very small one. May have been lucky.
Yes, lucky not to leave anything clattering into that cluster. Well, maybe I should have said didn't leave anything easy.
1. Five. Six.
Now, if he plays the blue, he might nudge something more. Guarantee holding the cue ball. Left-handed shot though available to him.
Eleven. $12. $18. $19.
Well, a little bit lucky to get a nice kiss off the black to get on the pink. That could easily gone wrong.
$25. $26.
That's slightly overhead.
31. Sure. 32. $38.
Oh, just hit the first jaw.
Robertson, 38.
Thought he'd get it, obviously. It didn't seem like it was all that far away in running.
And that time he had left an angle to pot the pink and develop the 2 reds underneath it.
Played the slightly more difficult red there. Dangerous time for Neil Robertson. Frame that he should have won by now. But he's seen the ability that Ronnie has when clearing up to get the troublesome balls into play. And those 2 reds below the pink well within his grasp here.
9.
Cue ball's just drifted a little bit too far. He wanted to be much straighter, to play this one a bit more carefully. A lovely touch. Very nice.
$16. $17.
And Ronnie has to leave it as late as possible to get the 2 reds going. It's all about the angle he gets on the next black. Might just look to nudge the right hand red as opposed to going into the 2 of them. A couple of ways he could play it.
$25.
Bringing the pink into play. Definitely opens the reds up. Pretty good. Bit worried that the other red is drifting close enough to the black.
31.
Robertson broke down unexpectedly on 38.
Thank you. 32.
And O'Sullivan now a hot favourite for the frame.
$38.
The last issue is getting onto the yellow. But it's not perfectly played for once. Sure, if he tried to come further down the table, so he had a straight shot on one of the bulk colours to get onto the yellow and make things easier. He wanted to be straighter on the brown. That's a good shot though. Drifting again fractionally further than he would like, and he wants yellow and green.
43.
Well held for green.
Once it's not been under complete
48.
control this break, but by Ronnie's standards anyway. Either way, he's got there. That's in as well. Frame that could have gone the other way, this one. These are the significant frames in the course of a match like this. He knows that.
57. $63.
Robertson missed unexpectedly. And Sullivan has cleared up with 70 to lead by 4 frames to 3.
Thank you, frame 8. Neil Robertson to break.
Very close. He's just style of bridging halfway through that shot without getting up on the shot.
The coaches tell you you shouldn't do.
It was Ronnie's last shot. He's cueing that way, and then he puts the loop across the top. So meant to start again. I've seen Ronnie do that before, though. Either change his bridge like that or change his mind on shots. Makes no real difference to him. He usually still pots it. Also, you see another very fine safety shot. He's not just getting the cue ball back down the other end. He's putting it on the very awkward side of the table. He's cut off the right side, as you'll see there. So nothing can be got at from there. It's very congested on the left, so how on earth does Neil Robertson get up to bolt from here? The answer is he may not be able to. Down to the old adage, if you can't see a safety shot and there's a pot on, go for it. He may have to if nothing else comes up. Tried to play the holding shot, the defensive safety, which is good for one shot, but he could be in more trouble after this.
Do you think, Neil, that O'Sullivan has still got slightly more craft than Robertson?
Well, he's got more craft than most, hasn't he, I guess. And these two are both good safety players. Robertson's tactical and safety plays is right up there, but as you've said before this week, Clive, there isn't a lot about the game that Ronnie can't do. known for his break building, and the youngster has been a brilliant putter of a long ball. How he kind of started out. He tied Robertson up in knots there. Made that mistake take place.
One. Seven. Eight. Fourteen. 15.
No player has opened up a 2-frame gap in this match. Is this where O'Sullivan does?
21.
At the
22.
moment, Ronnie getting too ambitious about getting the black into play or anything like that. He knows that there's plenty of reds and pinks up for grabs here. Take him about 40 or 50 in front. As you say, a 2-frame lead will feel a pretty significant move in this match, I think.
$28.
It would be 2 up with 3 to play.
I wonder if he
29.
played that. If he did play, it was a tremendous cannon. Hit the red full on. He's pushed up the table, held for the pink.
$35. $36.
Bet on the pink and had a quick glance to see if the black had become available. Not so.
$42. $43.
And Ronnie's made 11 maximum breaks at
49.
147 during his career. Shows you doesn't need to be around the black spot. 7 red, 7 pinks. Accumulating enough points here, the way things are shaping up.
50.
Another lovely shot to play on the pink, or indeed the black this time if he wants it. A couple of times he's eyed this up. It's tied actually. Pretty certain it will go.
$57.
He knows he can't go too far up the table if he plays on the black. He saw how tight it was the last time. It doesn't pop from that many places. Now he's in two minds here. Blue's not on its spot, that's his worry. Normally that would be his default, would be up onto the blue.
58.
It's just thrown him slightly, the fact that the blue's away from its spot. He's doing okay on the pinks actually. He was on the pink the last shot. Played the black. And with running side, left-hand side. And the applause, especially from the right-hand side of the arena, so they can see that he's right in behind this next shot, and that is exactly where the balls are finished. Suggest now that with the black seemingly available to the opposite corner, this frame is just as good as over.
64.
It's been a very good break. Ronnie's had to think about a lot of it throughout. That man had plenty to think about, Neil Robertson. He hasn't played badly, but he's going to go a couple of frames down now.
71. $72.
A thinking break, an immaculate break.
79. 80.
You mentioned craft, Clive, and of course a lot of that is about the way you play and the safety and the other kind of skill that you need, but this is a lot of tremendous craft in this break.
$95. 96.
You feel it's been a very high standard match, but this is the first century of it. What a brilliant one it's been.
Well, it's not all about centuries, but still, it's nice to see one. And that one of 103 puts O'Sullivan talk with 3 to play with a 5-3 lead.
Frame 9. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
O'Sullivan has come from 3-2 down to 5-3 up with a run of 3 straight frames.
Very nice safety shot from Robertson. Could not have played that any better. Absolutely the easiest of escapes here. The pack are not very tightly grouped together. If he plays off 2 cushions, to be very careful. The 1 cushion option, but there is a red that he might leave if he's not in this perfect pace. He's got into a small gap there. That was an excellent shot. Any further down, he's got a red available. So just missing the pink by hardly anything. Neil Robertson's feeling the pressure here. He knows that his good safety has got to be such a high level that he's got to take risks.
But of course, the problem is that you can't take risks off just anything.
Even that last safety shot, he played it in such a complicated way to get Ronnie all kinds of trouble. Ended up going into the blue. Now, Ronnie was looking at a red. Playing a containing shot here. Be the last resort for O'Sullivan to play something like that.
I think in the past, when he was much younger, Sullivan worried a bit too much about how he won, felt that he ought to win in the grand manner, thought that he shouldn't be playing too much safety, but the object of the game is to win. And he's not only a great player now, but a great winner.
True, but also it applies, Clive, doesn't it, that very rarely that when he does win, he doesn't entertain at the same time. He knows that's important, but naturally he's a born entertainer. If you love watching snooker, you'll love watching this guy play.
Well, great safeties are not entertaining in the same way as great break making, but I've got your point, Neil.
Everything he does is of the same, though, isn't it? We saw him play a marvellous safety shot last night in the last frame against Ding, which eventually they won in the match.
Well, I think people who know little or nothing about snooker can see how good he is, how great he is. And the people who do know about it see the subtleties as well, or at least most of them.
Well, he has left this red to the middle, and Neil has looked at it. It's, possibly getting away up the table as well, back to bulk. In the end, he was unlucky to go in off, actually.
Yeah, as if it's not difficult enough. Up against O'Sullivan, he gets an unkind run of the ball. Well, to flick the second red at just that angle to take it into the pocket, terribly unlucky.
Once again, look at this safety shot. Doing his best to cover the right-hand side of the table, and the left-hand side has got a red on the left cushion, so getting back to bulk is difficult. Very few times that Robertson's had that, the basic safety shot to come up and down, back to bulk, thin off the side of the reds. There's always something in the way. It's always been planned. So once again, Robertson forced to play a containing safety. Look at this shot again. All the time getting Robertson in all sorts of trouble.
If he could have placed the cue ball by hand, that's where he would have placed it. Maybe an inch nearer the ball cushion.
Well, safety success, 89%, means that he's just shut Robertson out. They've both played good safety, but I think most of the time Robertson had to try and contain O'Sullivan rather than get him in trouble. Here's the difference between the two. This time he could get up the table just. And that is a great comeback shot from Neil Robertson.
Appreciated by O'Sullivan in the traditional way with a brief tap of the cushion rail. Not quite so good from the 5 times world champion that time. Still plenty of distance involved.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the nearest thing we've seen to a slight error, but easy to pop these at long range, especially after being in trouble for about the last 8 shots he's played. Starts to take his toll in the end.
Robertson has gone 25 minutes without potting a ball.
I didn't think he's gone for very many in that time either. This time he is going for one. No, it's a bit unlucky. I think that left-hand jaw was the only way he could stick it, I think.
One.
Thinking when Ronnie won the World Championship for the 4th time and took basically a year off. He played in one PTC, which he lost immediately in. He never really knew whether we'd see him much more. Thinking that maybe he was coming to the end of his career, but he's competing this week in such a big tournament. And he seems to be relishing it.
Nine.
Well, I think he felt, amongst other things, that with a lot of things going on in his personal life, he couldn't really concentrate on snooker as he needed to. And also, it's fair to say that he has many times threatened to retire
15.
when he's been feeling pressure of one sort or another, not generated by the game specifically, but by other factors. I think he's seen retirement as a refuge from pressure, but when he gets his mind in gear again and starts enjoying the game,
16.
he always shows us just how good he is.
It couldn't be that Robertson's played his last shot
21.
here. Guaranteed, of course, but well, he's very good at just finding a way of keeping breaks going. I don't think he's played all that badly, if I'm honest. Missed a couple. 2 of the frames that have gone against him he could have won. One very early in the match when he may have led 2-0. Another one after the interval.
22.
It's essentially the difference between the 2 players, but also just the way that he's been outmanoeuvred for the most part.
$27. $28.
Extra on that one to ensure being topside, and it's absolutely perfect on that blue. Checking to see what goes without the need to split the bunch up at all. Not that there is much of a group of reds, but might consider just playing a little nudge into them. Yep. Gently, and that way the cue ball isn't lost. Another
33.
classy little shot.
34.
That was also very good. It was the natural to come away from those reds and up the table.
What a deadly combination Sullivan's produced in the last 3.5 frames. Great safety. And
Well,
just as I say that,
Sullivan 34.
he's made a
Robertson
positional
5.
error.
Just a bit thin on that blue, wasn't he? And that's why the mistake took place. It's unusual. He was punished for it because he went in off, as you saw. And just wanted to screw the other side of that red.
Well, O'Sullivan has played so well the last 3 frames. Great tactical play, as I said. And also breaks of 54, 70 and 103.
And you also saw there briefly that it's half an hour since Neil Robertson potted a ball.
Tempted to adapt a quote from Sir Alex Ferguson. Tonight, Robertson has proved that he's a top player. O'Sullivan has proved that he's a top player.
Well, that's gone in. So there, whether it be putting a bulk colour or landing in behind one. I think he's got to play a little snooker here. The pot-in option is just not on. He gets a little advantage back if he gets his shot right.
Neil Robertson 1.
Well, the cross double at least breaks Robertson's potting drought, but more important is the snooker up behind the brown. It's got O'Sullivan on the defensive for once. Perfect.
Yeah, left on low. Left that red on, I think. So whether it was exactly how he played it, I don't know.
Well, I was assuming that the red behind the black wouldn't go.
So it'll be very interesting to see how Robertson is now in amongst them, because he has been frozen out for a long time. This will really test his mettle.
Six. Seven.
About 10 minutes ago, when O'Sullivan was in with 34, Robertson was contemplating the possibility of not getting another shot this evening. But should make the best of this. Pull a frame back, get some momentum going. He's not out of it.
That's a very slight angle on this. They hit it quite hard to get up for the next red. That's okay.
14. 15. 22. 23.
'A couple of minutes ago it looked as if O'Sullivan had played a great escape, but turned out it was to the wrong red.
30.
Robertson looking at the red to the left, not for this time because it's the other red he's playing, but wondering whether the one below the pink will then pop to a corner pocket or not. So he's thinking 3 shots ahead here.
Thirty-one. 37. 38.
Well, as you know, Neil Robertson, as a left-hander, will have a bit of difficulty with this shot down the cushion. Not got the angle to cannon it out. Ronnie hopes that that will be where the break ends. Now, tricky little angle this. He's not dead straight. He's slightly the wrong side of straight. This is not easy. Your ball, if you dropped it in, would finish on the side cushion. So he's got to use some kind of pace on this.
Probably the best angle for this would have been with the cue ball about the same distance from the side cushion as the red is. He's got it though, and by coming round 2 cushions, the cue ball is well out into the middle of the table.
There's a very fine shot there. Natural to get up from black to yellow this. Now, all credit to Neil Robertson. And the chance it finally came. To this point, he's taken it with a little bit more to do.
Yellow and green needed.
Cheers. 55. Sure.
That was a slight kick, and that was why he didn't pop the green quite as cleanly as he expected to.
No, I think he believed that maybe he'd missed that, but we were that excellent camera angle behind the shot, and it always seemed like it would drop in. Would have been very cruel if he hadn't have done, because
60.
this has been a very good break. Shown a lot of nerve here. This match is very much alive. Robertson is not wilting under the pressure he's been put under.
O'Sullivan has outplayed him for 3.5 frames, but when Robertson did finally get a chance.
73.
He's taken it. He's cleared up with 80. He's still in the match, albeit one down with 2 to play. O'Sullivan leading 5-4. There's always pressure in nailing down victory after a long, hard, tight match. O'Sullivan's usually a pretty good clincher of winning positions, although he did have
frame 10.
a problem last night
Robertson to break.
against Ding Junhui.
Set him back a little bit, O'Sullivan, hasn't it? Because he was there on the brink before we played that loose shot which sent the cue ball in off, halfway hitting a red in the process. So it looked like he was about to win 6-3, just with the run of play going as it was. Robertson's not the world #1 for no reason, and he was pretty steely at the end of that previous frame.
Yes, it was odd, wasn't it, in the last frame, just as it was starting to look as if O'Sullivan just wasn't going to make a mistake. That one popped.
Never got the feeling he was going to miss a pot actually there. It's like positional error you pay the full penalty for. Does Robertson want to take that red away from the black or not? I guess O'Sullivan, do you free the high value colours? He's probably got to play it actually as probably the right shot to keep O'Sullivan safe.
Not interested in the very dodgy red to left middle. Too much of a risk for Robertson as well, great potter though he is.
Good shot that, and Ronnie thought so as well, tapping the table. Really get out of the cue very high to generate any screw. It's given Ronnie something to think about. He could drop into the reds in the pack, but it's not his style as he absolutely has to. Now is he going for this pot in the middle? That looks really difficult. Now, he plays this shot. It's such an awkward shot. There's the red. Played safe from there. That's probably more like it. Worrying about leaving a red on, and he's quickly gone round to see what's on to the left middle. There may be something.
Well, there is a cut, but the cue ball is tight on the rail.
A big shot, very big. Very good. Oh, yes, on the blue. Actually a good pot and decent control of the cue ball.
And one way and another, the safety exchange has brought quite a few reds out into potable positions.
Six. 7. 14. 15. 20. 21. 26. 27. 34.
Pin drop silence in this capacity crowd.
40. 41. 46.
Potting the far red. takes the other one available to the same pocket.
$47.
The blue is easier to get onto a red from. Pot is more difficult than the brown in other ways.
$52.
This is cool stuff from Robertson.
$53.
Well, that looks good. Very good. Subtle nudge into the reds, nothing too dramatic.
60.
So the red and the black he'd want from here.
$61.
It's going to be the pink and one more red, and that'll be what he requires for this match going to a decider.
How well Robertson has responded when he wasn't far from being out of it in the last frame. Been outplayed for 3.5 frames.
67.
O'Sullivan made an unexpected mistake. Robertson cleared the table with 80. Now this contribution is going to take the match the full distance
75.
into a deciding 11th frame.
76.
High value
82.
colours throughout. Blue, pinks and blacks. 6 blues, 2 pinks and 4 blacks. There's another
83.
pink ball coming up. That means all Robertson's matches have gone to a decider. Now he beat Martin Gould 4-3, and then he beat Ali Carter 6 frames to 5, and it's got to be third
80.
time lucky to get Ronnie also against Ding, won by the odd frame.
90.
So the only remaining question to be answered with this frame is whether Robertson can complete his 50th century of the season.
$95.
Well, if the red passes the yellow, then there's every chance.
$96. $98.
50 centuries for Robertson in this campaign. Judd Trump set the record last season
103.
with 61.
$107. $112. 118.
A total clearance of 125. Magnificent. So Neil Robertson, from 5-3 down, has made rates of 80 and 125 to level the match at 5-all. It's all on the 11th frame.
Thank you. The final frame. Ronnie,
the decider, whoever wins it, will play Stuart Bingham in tomorrow's final. Best of 19, afternoon and evening.
Well, I'll tell you straight away, Ronnie looks disappointed. There could be a plant there. He looked at it, and Robertson was right round the table quickly. Those two reds, it's not quite lined up, but from the direction the cue ball is coming, that can be made into a plant. Certain of that. Just to the top jaw. There's one of these things, if he's on, he has to play it. This is an awful lot up for grabs here. If it was a dead plant, then he'd already played it by now, but he knows it can be made. It's two reds are virtually touching, I think. Well, there's not much distance, so we call a squeeze. In other words, he hits the top red, thicker than the potting angle, and that will be a plant. Much thicker though. And the cue ball will career into all the reds. I think it's too good to refuse.
He's got to get it. If he plays it.
Well, decides against it. Ronnie thought it was on. When Ronnie had played his break-off shot, he looked really disappointed to see those two balls lined up.
Robertson wasn't so sure though. If he'd attempted it and missed, he would have scattered the pack. Might not have got another shot.
Well, there's a lot of tension around here in the Ricoh Arena in Coventry, as this match has been of a high quality. Everybody's transfixed. Now, I think there could be a red up into the top right. If he plays it, be on the black. If it's straight enough, that is. It'll be quite close to the black. And he's looking, if the cue ball finishes in there, doesn't get the red, what opportunity does he leave for O'Sullivan? Does he leave a red for him? It's going to be shot to nothing. No. Worth the risk. I'm not sure what he's looking at. Again, are we talking a plant? There's 2 reds, which are almost set on. And again, they're not, probably this one to the bottom jaw. This time I think he's going to play it. Yeah. What he could have done with doing is trying to get as much topspin as he could muster on that, because going through the pack too much is better than not enough. Didn't quite get through them.
Thank you. New Robertson 1.
Look how these reds are spread. Seems to be almost the same gap in between them all. If the chance come, it would be an absolute golden opportunity to win the match for either player. Wow, what a shot. And now, that's a big problem for Neil Robertson, because, as I say, there is no pack to just play off one cushion into. Say he'd be looking at the red up the table there. First thing he's done is looked at the red right up on the bulk cushion. I think that would be his target ball. It's pretty safe about that end. Ronnie didn't quite get far enough in behind the black to stop that opportunity, because I think he can get there.
Ronnie O'Sullivan for...
Ronnie for Neil. I think he thought that maybe it rolled off, and he poked Kayla in the eye with his cue there.
Well, it was the proverbial ball short.
Something happened, didn't it? He didn't like. What a chance for O'Sullivan. Surprised he finished short on the shot. I can't imagine what excuse there could have been for that. I think the red that's up near the black spot is not actually getting in the way if the black is potted. So it might play a part in a few shots.
In any deciding frame, any top player would ask for only one thing, one decent chance. This is it.
Really is.
Ten.
Ronnie taking an interest in playing around the black spot. We know he could probably get up for the blue a number of times and accumulate points that way, but it's not really his style unless he has to. Thinking that maybe this time, see how things develop from here. Wasn't one of his better shots though. It was the only snag, finishing either straight or just off straight.
Well, dead straight's the worst angle he could have, because you can only go straight through or straight back. Forced an angle.
Yeah, two choices there. If he goes through
16.
the gap, then he's on the red down the cushion, or as you saw, a little kiss on the brown's giving him something, but this is not easy to judge. Oh, only just. That was off the near jaw. He played it slowly enough for the ball to be accepted. Just look at this. This really did nearly stay out.
Three hours of spellbinding entertainment.
What a good shot that was. Played with stun, it
20.
wasn't a natural. Well, he's not keen on the angle he's got on the red though. So he plays the one above it.
23.
Same problem though. Would have much preferred top side of the blue. Now he's got to face this red that's down that vault cushion, which if he gets right behind it, it shouldn't be a problem. Well, that's a nice angle. Means that the pot isn't got to be forced,
28.
and also that cue ball does come out of bulk and perhaps onto a bulk colour or even higher up the table for the blue. Great camera shot, isn't it, of a
29.
kind of position on the table we very rarely see. Still with more work to do, he knows. One more precise shot from bulk colour to the next red and it could well be curtains. That could just about be the shot. Once again, it's almost the same angle as the last time that he refused this red. So one to the middle instead.
$34.
This time nicely on the blue. 6 reds above the one near the black spot are slightly in each other's way, but a couple certainly will go to the right corner here. This time, crucially, you can play on the black.
39. 40.
Just slightly pacey, that one. But, while he should get this black, he's got to give it all his care and attention. Which he does. Well, time running out for Robertson.
47.
Should he ever get back to the table, which seems unlikely the way the balls are.
48.
He's a good pressure player, but Ronnie has pulled out more here. Pegged back from 5-3 to 5-all, and he's responded, Clive, hasn't he?
55. 56.
Great stuff from both. Over the line. Robertson led 3-2.
71.
O'Sullivan played 3 errorless frames, tactically and potting in taking a 5-3 lead. He also led 34-0 in the next frame. He was heading for a 6-3 win. He made an unexpected mistake. Robertson won that frame with 80. Another with a total clearance of 125. But
87.
it's O'Sullivan who's got in the decider.
90.
And he's going to clinch it with an immaculate century.
Yeah, and a lovely match to watch.
94.
Robertson's played a big part in it. Just the standard of play. It's not all been breaks.
97.
Both players have made centuries. We're going to see the third of the match here, but it's been just a joy, this match.
$106.
O'Sullivan's 6-5 win over Ding Junhui last night was wonderful entertainment.
112.
His 6-5 win over Neil Robertson tonight. He's been right up with it. So, with a break of 119 in the deciding frame, Ronnie O'Sullivan beats Neil Robertson by 6 frames to 5 and will play Stuart Bingham for the title tomorrow.
We promised you an excellent match tonight, as much as you can promise anything. There's plenty of hype in modern sport. We can be guilty of it ourselves, but I think we delivered there. That was tremendous from both players, as Clive Everton says, and we'll hear from both shortly. We'll drag them in here for a word on what you've just seen. It was pretty special, even by the standards of those two. We'll also, of course, hear from Alan McManus. It is Ronnie O'Sullivan who'll play Stuart Bingham tomorrow in the final of the Champion of Champions. Very, very high quality snooker. Top draw stuff, right when he needed it most. Having led 5-3, pegged back to 5-all, just a 119 to get the job done. Tough on Neil Robertson, but that's what he does. He'll be back tomorrow for more. 6-5 is the margin that counts, but excellent quality snooker in all departments, really. Pot success, safety success, and in the end, just getting the better. And as promised, the century breaks did come after some give and take at the start of the match, and that's what you have tomorrow. Ronnie against Stuart Bingham, starting at 12:45. Phil Douglas here on ITV4 with you for that 2 sessions to eventually crown a champion of champions. And both players have been good enough to join us. Thank you both for the entertainment.
Cheers.
We enjoyed it. Did you, Ronnie?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, because I won the match, but even if I wouldn't have done, I'd have been disappointed to have lost, because it was one of them games where you felt like you played good, and you never like to lose a match feeling like you played well. But I mean, you're playing the world #1. He's there for a reason, because he's so strong in all departments, and you know, I'm just congratulating Neil on another good tournament and another good season, you know, because he's been the man. I know Ding's won 3 on the bounce, but this guy's been doing it relentlessly for the last 3, 4, 5 years, you know, so class act.
And so therefore, you are the one that's played well and lost. Is that tough to take, Neil?
It's not really tough to take, I guess, 'cause, I mean, I never got a chance in the decider. If I'd got a good chance in the decider, I didn't win, then it would be. But, you know, yeah, just probably early on in the match, I lost a couple of frames where I was in, but I wasn't like in around the black spot. I was always going out for blues and that, and couldn't really get into any kind of rhythm. And I missed a couple of tricky reds that you can miss when you're not in full flow. And yeah, just the start of the match, just not playing slow on purpose at all. I'm trying to get on with it, but I just couldn't get into a good position.
You have to be happy, Neil, with the way you come back into it from you were 5-3 behind. You remember you played a little cross double. It was a cheeky one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You played it as well, didn't
Yeah.
you? Obviously tucked Ronnie in behind the brown, and from then on it was one-way traffic your way for a couple of frames, wasn't it?
Yeah, when I got that chance, yeah, I tucked Ronnie up behind the brown, and yeah, I got it was a good chance to clear out. The only difficult shot really was the red with the rest.
This is quite deliberate, the cross double, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I called it actually before you.
But once I got in, I thought, you know, look, you just got to step it up, just get into a rhythm, because, you know, I had to, if I was to get chances in the match, I was going to have to be more efficient than what I had been in the earlier part of the match. So
The frame actually to go 5 each, you potted another great red in the left middle, didn't you? White was in the
that was do or die basically.
Do or die,
I know Ronnie wasn't happy with it because he left me it, but you know, in some ways he may have been happy that I was left with this shot. You know, I've got no other shot, and just sort of crept in, and you know I've got 4 or 5 6 easy reds there, so. I was guaranteed to be able to get into some sort of flow there, and I was very confident of taking it to a decider.
Can I just ask you about the plant at the start of the last frame?
Mate, 0-0, I'm going for it all day long.
yeah, exactly. Do you fancy it in hindsight?
Oh, I wanted to just smash this, but the problem was that there was a slight gap between the 2 reds.
Yeah, I know.
If you're practicing, I mean, you're going for that 100 miles an hour.
But there's a cut-off point of what you can sort of squeeze.
You're not guaranteed to get on the colour.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the gamble's too big for what you leave if it doesn't come off.
It's missable. It wasn't a set plant. It was missable. If you were guaranteed to get on a red and win the frame, I'd say all right. But chances are he could have missed it and left.
Yeah, I mean, if I miss it, I'll pretty much lose. You know, so yeah.
You got your chance. I don't know whether you were kicking yourself a little bit at the fact that you're now 5-all from 5-3 up. You hadn't perhaps done a lot wrong, but you took your chance when it came.
I wasn't kicking myself. I was just frustrated because I had the blue and winning off, but I hadn't played a bad shot. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm 5-3 up, but I'm really playing well. And that's the thing with playing Neil, is that he just gets going. And
that shot there was more of to see if I could actually hit that red on the cushion. But the problem is, I didn't think I could, but the white's sort of just turned a touch into the knuckle, and it's caught the knuckle, which has slowed the white down.
On the nap a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he actually put a really good
tough shot, that, isn't it?
Yeah. But I was close to it, so it was just kind of not. It was a tough shot because of the stage of the match, but it's one because you was close to it. Yeah. But this was hard because I couldn't get the reds to get by the black, and I just had to play a few. You
kept having to play up the table, didn't you?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy the kind of the cut and thrust of it in those moments?
Yeah, buzzing. Yeah, I enjoy it. You know, I mean, if you can't, I mean, he's a class player. Ding, I mean, them two, and Trump. You know, he play them. They play an aggressive attacking game, and it's the way snooker should be played.
Yeah. I'm just thinking when you're not playing, these are the things that you miss. Presumably, the stuff that you don't miss, but these are the things that you do miss.
What, when I stop playing?
When you don't play.
Oh, I missed the people more than anything. The game was hard and graft sometimes, but I just missed the people. But you know, like games like just playing against Neil, I enjoyed that. To be fair, I always enjoy playing because he's good to watch as well. You know.
For all you guys are 2 of the very best players in the world, you don't play that often out in these big arenas, do you? It's been 18 months or so, hasn't it, since the Masters?
Something there.
No, I mean since the World Championships, you had a big game, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I always enjoy playing Ronnie. I mean, I love the challenge of playing him. But you want to be playing in these arenas, and the top players. You know, this is what we want to play: full crowds, and like the Masters, the World Championships.
Yeah.
This tournament has been a huge success in my opinion. Yeah. In the UK as well. So there are a lot of players on the tour now, and so we just have to battle through it and try to get to these stages more often.
We particularly enjoyed in that second frame the kind of organising that was going through your mind before you got to that lovely little cannon that eventually sorted the frame out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought blues.
There's a bit of mental maths going on, and
the
scoreboard.
Yeah. I was just kind of
You had a few little options here, didn't you? But you played for the green, didn't you?
Snooker. A lot of players would play for the snooker.
Yeah, you played for the green deliberately.
Yeah, I played for the green. Yeah, I thought leave that angle just to slide in,
Yeah.
But like just going back to the tournaments, I think this tournament's just shown that they're trying to put tournaments on and please all the players, but I think the public have been treated to probably some fantastic snooker this week. Him playing Ali and John playing Maguire, Selby playing his second match. It was just really good quality snooker.
Yeah.
I think that there should be more invitation top events for the top 16
well, that was kind of my point just a
cards.
second ago when I was saying it's a while since you guys have played in a big because there's not that many opportunities on British TV now, isn't there? So
no, I think
it's always an occasion, isn't it?
I think we always played more of this. We had Goffs, we had the Regal Masters, we had the Masters, we had the Premier League. Well, there's like 5 or 6 invitation events for the top 16 players, and they were like you earned that, and you thought, what, I've got the season, I've got 5 of them tournaments, and I think that's what snooker needs. You need to reward your top players. I know Barry's gone back to the 1-2-8 flat draw, got no problem with that, but there's no incentive there to be in the top 16.
Well, no, and I've been hearing throughout the day that obviously ranking points have become the kind of thing that you have to keep accumulating. So it's the travelling and the working and the playing. It becomes slightly relentless for all of you.
Yeah, it's a lot different now though, because for one thing, the ranking system gets changed after this year's World Championship, you know, to a money list.
Right.
But I really agree with what Ronnie's saying, because the rankings don't really mean anything unless you're qualifying for events like this. You know, this tournament you have to get in by winning an event. I know there are a couple of players
2 wildcards,
from the rankings, but yeah, the Masters is the rankings, and you know, there really should be more of these tournaments, because whether you like it or not, it is great having a flat draw, but people want to see the top players playing each other in one-table setups.
Like Champions League football.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to sell out arenas, I think the boys are saying that's what you've got to have, is the very, very top names like these two gentlemen here, you know. So.
I mean, really, there's no incentive other than to just wanting to do well, but there's no incentive, you know, if you become a top 4-8 player, there's nothing there anymore. Whereas, I mean, I'm getting to the point now where I'm thinking you're playing a lot of small events, and I'm thinking, well, as long as I make 50 grand, stay in the top 164 so I don't lose my card, and just playing minimum events, because you either embrace it and go full-hearted into it, or you play a few events. And I just thought, you know what, I'd rather, sometimes you think, well, I'll just make sure I'm in there, and if I feel like putting the work in and having a good year, then I put the work in.